Hello and welcome back to the channel. Today is another motorcycle ignition. I wasn't going to film this, but in taking it apart, found some interesting things. So sit back and enjoy. Okay, so here we have bits and pieces from a Kawasaki motorcycle. The customer brought in both helmet locks. This one here was screwed onto this bracket, and he brought the ignition in. So there are codes on these locks. He contacted Kawasaki with the VIN number, and they cut him a key by VIN. It did not work. He came in, I cut a key by code. There were two possible sets of cuts for that code. I cut the key for the second possible code, and it also does not work. So I pulled this lock apart. So let me put you down and show you what's going on with this. Okay, so in order to take this lock apart, the cylinder was inside here. There is a retainer that is right here. You can see that. So when the lock is inside the housing, that is pushed up and it prevents the cylinder from sliding out. Then there is this gear which sits on the tailpiece, which actuates to be able to retract this part here. So there's a gear in here. Let's see if I can get you set up on that. There is a gear right here that will move when you turn the cylinder to retract the helmet lock. And that's all well and good. It's all functioning the way it should. However, when I pulled it apart, as you can see, there are two wafers missing. It's supposed to have 6. And when you put the key in, doesn't matter which one. So this is the one I cut, and this cut here in this position isn't deep enough, and this cut here, see how it's sticking out on this side? This side is too deep. So then we'll take the one that Kawasaki cut, and again, it has cuts that are not deep enough, and then we have cuts that are too deep. So someone's been in here, and they, for whatever reason, have rekeyed this motorcycle to something completely different. So we'll have to go through and figure out what these cuts actually are to make a key for this, which will hopefully work this helmet lock, and hopefully it will work the ignition without having to tear the ignition apart. So I have no idea what the person did or why they did it, but someone has been into these locks, and now we have to play detective and uncode what they did. So that's my job for today. Well, at the moment anyway. Alright, so the way we start doing that is we'll take a blank key. So there's no cuts at all on this. We'll slide it into the lock, and that will push all our wafers up. So we'll look at the wafers. So this one here is already flush with that. This one here is flush with that. Possibly, if you look at it this way, they may be sticking up a hair, but not that much. Then these two, they are sticking up an equal amount. So these two are equal, these two are equal. So these two are the same cut, these two are the same cut. So now we need to figure out what this cut is. So because these are flush on a blank, we'll assume that they're ones, and then we'll start with a cut here, assuming that these are twos, because they're up a little bit. They could be threes, they're definitely not fours. So this particular lock can have either a 1, a 2, a 3, or a 4 cut for depths. And that, if you remember, that's the depth of the V, how deep that V is. So let me get this cut to 1122, and then we'll see how the key fits. And then once we have that cut, we'll also see how it operates, or if it operates, the other locks. Okay, so here we have the cuts 1122, and then I cut 11 because there's no wafers in the last two chambers, so I don't want to cut something deep in case one of the other locks has a wafer in that position. So we'll put it in, and all the wafers are the same, sticking out the same. So I took it and I'll put it into the cylinder, and it does not turn. So then now I will cut it at 2233 and test that to see if that works. Okay, so now we'll take the key. As you can see, the cuts now are 2233, and then I left that as 11. So put the key in. All the wafers are flush. There's nothing sticking out on this side, so this should be the proper key. I'll take and put this back into, its housing, and it does turn. So it is not retracting the helmet because I do not have the gear on it yet. So let me put that on. That goes down in here, and spin it so that the teeth line up with each other. Alright, so now that that's in, when we turn the key, it retracts the helmet lock. So we can take and put the cap back on. And then we'll just put the screw back in. And then we'll put this bracket back on, and then this lock is complete. And then we'll move on to the other locks and see if that key we made works them. And if it doesn't work, then we have to take those apart and see where the cuts are different. So let me get this back together, and I'll be right back with you. Okay, so this lock is all back together. It is only cut on one side, so it will only work one way. but it still works. So this is all assembled, it's working. So we'll set this one aside. Here's the other helmet lock. So remember, it's only cut on one side, so we have to test it in both directions just to make sure. And this key does not work in either direction. So this lock is keyed differently than the other lock. Let's try the ignition. So put the key in the ignition. Doesn't work that way. And doesn't work this way. So this ignition is not keyed the same as this one, but remember, this one had the 2 missing wafers, which is why we left these cuts as 1-1. It is possible that when these locks were assembled, they have different wafers in different positions, so we may just need to cut these tip cuts to the correct combination, and the key will work. But I need to tear another lock apart in order to test that theory. So we'll start with the easiest one, which is the other helmet lock. So this has 3 little screws. So this has 3 little screws that need to be pulled off. It is spring-loaded. Saw the cover pop up, so we'll hold our thumb on there to keep it from grenading. Alright, so there's the cover. There's the spring that was in here. And then we have the cylinder over here. If you can see, try and get you the angle here. See that brass line right there? That's the wafer holding the cylinder in. So we don't need to take all this out. If we can get that pushed down, then the cylinder should slide out. So push that down. Apologize if my hands get in the way, but little parts. So that's pushed down. And now we need to push this. Just start getting the cylinder pushed out. Now that brass retainer is inside the barrel part, so now we can just push it out to a point where we can grab it out here, and then that will slide out. And there's the retainer that just popped off. That sits right here. Alright, and this one does have all 6 wafers in it. So let's just see how the 2233 sits inside of it, and see if we just need to cut the tips, and it appears we do. So as you can see, all these wafers lined up correctly. There's nothing sticking up on the other side. And these 2 wafers are sticking up about the way that so about what these were. So we'll try cutting a 2-2 here, since they are sticking up the same amount, and so that means that they are the same depth of cut, since we have a blank key so right now they're at 1s, so the fact that they're sticking up the same amount on a 1 means that they are the same depth. So let me cut a 2 in those positions, and we'll see if that works. Okay, so what I did was I cut the other side of the key. So if you remember on the Silca machine, it'll barely kiss the key in order to find it. So if I were to try and do that on the side that's already cut, it will find the key, but it'll find it deeper. It'll find it on the 2 cut. And so then it'll cut everything deep. So I started with the side I hadn't cut yet, knowing that the 2-2 and 3-3 are correct, and we're just shooting to see, hopefully the 2-2 is correct on the tip. So we'll put that in. Everything is flush. So we'll stick this back in, and it does turn, so that's good. So let's put this one back together. So if you remember, we put the screw there, and we have to hold that spring in place as we push the cover down. And we're holding the cover, and then we have these 3 little screws. So we have these 3 little screws, and just put those in. Hopefully this is coming out in focus. I'm trying to give you guys a better view. It's only about 8 inches away from the lock, so I'm working around the camera. So hopefully this helps you be able to see better. So we'll put that back in. It doesn't work one way, but it does work the other, and that spring pops the helmet lock out there. So now we'll take this key that has all 6 cuts, and we'll try it in the ignition. And if you remember, we only cut on one side all the way. Still doesn't work that way, but it does work that way. And if you can take on this particular motorcycle, if you push it in and turn it counterclockwise, it throws the steering lock out. So that's in the off position, and then that's the on position. So it's an electrical switch, off on, but it also has a lock feature. So I just need to cut the 2-2. So I just need to cut the 2-2 on the other side, and then we'll have the key done. Okay, so I have it cut on both sides now. So it works one way, and it works the other way. Now the customer did bring his own blank in, but because the customer did bring his own blank in, but because he only brought one in, I didn't want to work with that. Because as you saw, when I cut the first key to the other code possibility, it didn't work, so I would have wasted his key that he brought in. So now I will take the working key, copy it onto his blank, and now we're finished. Thanks for watching. Have a great day. God bless.